we go again. And here's where I do my Kermit the Frog imitation. It's Cast Iron Wednesday, and with our very special guest star, Stumpy, the number 14 skillet. Yay! Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday, a tradition that a lot of YouTube channels have been doing for the past several years, where on Wednesday, we do a cast iron video because it's a lot of fun. It gets to it's an excuse for us to play with our cast iron, and of course, just that. Hopefully, it gets us some viewers because I've been doing this for somehow 3.5 years, and as I said, it's been a lot of fun, and I'm really enjoy doing this every week. Largely because of the folks who have been kind enough to show up here week after week. Evidently, this has been popular enough that I've actually gotten some regular folks here. So thank you very much to everybody who's been kind enough to show up. Yes, but hello, as always, to everybody here on the here in our live chat. Hello to Jim F. and Jimmy Langford, William Hurt and Anthony, and Val's Black Cats Rules, who I understand is going to be heading towards this area sometime this summer, antique hunting. Well, I think you'll have a lot of luck there at the early Owego Antique Center. I do like going there myself. And hello to Greg Hart and Chris McGee and Kimberly Miller and Hedge Hunter. Yeah, that's right. What's up? And Linda Mooney, hello, and hello to everybody. VL Triple X, gonna make chicken salad in a minute. Looking for some inspiration. Well, I'm hoping that we will be getting some inspiration. Yes, because yes, we are doing chicken tonight. The chicken is in the fridge, and it's about time to take it out of the fridge, actually. Because as I mentioned, this is tonight. I'm doing one of my favorite chicken recipes. This is one that I've like to think that I came up with a few years ago, and it's definitely one of the easiest ways there is to roast a chicken. And I've done it enough times that I can confidently say that. But that is what they call on the Cast Iron Cooking Group the 500-degree chicken. And for that, we are going to get to play with some cast iron tonight. We're even going to do some roasted potatoes starring Stumpy. So I guess at this point we should probably get started instead of just talking all evening, especially since the oven's finally heated up to 500 degrees. Considering it had some heavy cast iron in it, I mean, it took like about half an hour for it to reach the right temperature, but it's managed to do so. So that means we can get going here. One ad is for a wild stand mixer. Oh, nice. Chicken salad. Happy Cast Iron Wednesday to Cast Iron Fanatic. And with that, I think we can once again go on the roller coaster ride and move the camera over carefully to our to my stovetop, not my stovetop, my countertop here. That way we will be able to play with our cast iron. Although before I do that, I've got to take that chicken out of the fridge. So, oh yeah, I actually am excited enough for tonight that I posted a preview video, a short video on YouTube and TikTok and everything like that, where I got to show off the chicken. Here, yes, as mentioned there, if this thing will stay upright, there we go. We just have 2 4-pound chickens here. I got these at the local supermarket. The thing about this particular recipe, the Dutch oven chicken, is that if you're going to do this, you have to use a chicken that's 5 pounds or less in weight. I found that out a few years ago as well, because the thing is that this cooks the chicken so fast. I mean, it's only going to take about 45 minutes. That you want to be sure, of course, that the inside is completely cooked as well as the outside. And if the chicken is larger than 5 pounds, well, then there's just too much mass there. The inside is not going to be completely cooked. Since these are about 4 pounds each, I can practically guarantee that this is going to turn out just fine. These chickens are going to be thoroughly cooked all the way down to the bone, and there shouldn't be any problem with that at all. I've coated these with rub, and these things have been sitting in the fridge uncovered since about 12 hours ago. So that's a little bit of a dry brine, as they say, which helps to which helps to moisten it, add flavor, and tenderize it as well. So I'm, especially since this is so easy to make, I'm really looking forward to playing around with these chickens. So that means you have to bring out the trivet here, since this is going to be a hot piece of cast iron. Definitely, I'm going to need this trivet. All right. And with that, okay, does the Route 30 garage sale even come close enough to you to check it out? Well, I found out there is a highway yard sale here in New York. I haven't had a chance to go to that, but I'm hoping I will be able to do so this summer. The Route 90 yard sale. All right, but having said that, I think it's time now to bring out one of the stars of the show. All right, and we're gonna start with. Oh, oh yeah, this thing is really, really hot. Oh yeah, hot. Oh, okay. And here it is, a Birmingham Stove and Range #8 size Dutch oven, Red Mountain, in fact. Where I have completely heated this thing to 500 degrees, and I did heat it dry as well. There is there is no oil or anything in the oven. All we really need to do is quite literally drop in the chicken, cover it, and put it in the oven. So here we go. Okay. Poof. Yeah, that's one of the fun things about this recipe. Okay. That also shows you how hot it is. And away we go. Thing is sizzling like there's no tomorrow. Put the hot lid back on. And with that, goes back into the oven as quickly as we can. I better quickly change the viewpoint over. Oh, oh, good grief. Come on. Excuse me 1 second. Get this in the oven. Always forget something, don't I? Seriously, it stopped. Okay, well, just to be safe, I better get this thing out of the way so it doesn't happen again. One puff of smoke and this thing goes off. Well, I guess you could say it's doing what it's supposed to do. Anyway, that was #1. Now from here, and by the way, the time is 8:08. So that means we just get to count down 40 minutes from here. Yes, chaos reigns supreme, Rick. I know. And best part is we're about to do it again. Here comes #2. Yeah. So once again, all we do is we pop it off, remove the lid, poof. Take our, oh, that's hot too. Take our chicken and just drop it in. Plop. Then just like that, we cover it with the lid. And once again, let's turn this view over. Back into the oven it goes for #2. Come on, there we go. Got it. Oh, well, that part's done. Okay, so far, so good. All right, it is now 8:09. So that means we get to, in 40 minutes then, so that's 8:48 and 8:49, we get to, oops, sorry, I've got a guest on the camera. Didn't want to do that. No worries. Anyway, at 8:08 and 8:09, we will just remove the lid and then let it crisp for another 5 minutes. Whew. However, yeah, your fire alarm's freaking out my dog. Well, at least we know that thing works. Meanwhile, and two other things. One is I have also been heating up some potatoes. And hopefully these things have at least started to boil. I only need to parboil these potatoes. Yeah, to go along with, nope, it's not boiling yet. Okay, no big deal. Plenty of time. To go along with the chicken, I'm also going to be preparing some roasted potatoes. And I'm using a recipe here that is suggesting that in order to get the crispiest potatoes, you should actually parboil them for just a couple of minutes first. So I'm going to give that a try. Uh, did I keep the temperature at 500 while cooking the chicken? Yes. That's the whole thing, and that's the reason why this cooks so fast. You are correct. The oven is still at 500 degrees, and it is going to remain at 500 degrees all the way until the chicken is done. Actually, I think rather than looking at my face, let me move back to the stove again. I think you would rather want to look at this rather than my face. Because, yes, by the way, folks, this is that aluminum pot that I found about 2 weeks ago and spent a whole week scrubbing and doing everything I can to clean up. And well, I managed to clean it up about 99% of the way anyway. Even now on the inside of this pot, although I won't be able to show you until we get the potatoes out of there, there is still a little bit of staining at this point. However, it I would definitely say that at that point this is good to go, which is why we are going. Yeah, this big aluminum pot here. As I said, I grabbed it at the flea market because one, it looks like a Wagner, but I was wrong. Two, it cost all of $7. So I certainly didn't want to pass that up. And three, I definitely do have a need for a big aluminum stock pot for doing things like what I'm doing right now, which again is just simply bringing some potatoes to a boil. It's still not quite at that point. We only need to boil or parboil the potatoes for about, as I said, only about a minute or so. Also, yeah, not interesting thing about this lid, by the way, this aluminum lid, it actually has this little divot here on the side, which means you can actually get a good seal if I do it right. Did I miss it? Oh, there it is. And move it in. Come on. Yeah, prove me wrong, why don't you? There. Now it's on. So yeah, I actually learned a little bit of history with this aluminum pot because, um, as I said, this particular one here was actually made in Switzerland, especially to be sold in the United States. I thought it was a Wagner, but I'm completely wrong. The logo on the bottom says, what does it say? It says Super Made Cookware, MAID. So, and what's more, it was really sold especially by door-to-door salesmen in the 1920s and 1930s. So that's just how things were back in those days, where, of course, the housewives cooked in the kitchen, and there was a whole industry dedicated especially to housewives. That's why a lot of those door to door salesmen sold things like, well, kitchen gadgets. And of course, you can also say that's where soap operas were born too. Yeah, it's hard to pass on any old pan that still has its lid. Yes, exactly. From Switzerland, how continental. Yeah, I would have grabbed it for seven too. That's why I just couldn't pass it up. I've got another big aluminum stock pot. I was debating whether or not I might actually get rid of this Supermade one because the other one has a nice thick bottom. This one doesn't. But so far, this is doing pretty nicely. Meanwhile, the chicken, I can already hear that simmering in the oven. So we are off to a decent start here tonight. Right. And while we're waiting at this point, I think I can move this rack to over to the sink for the moment. Okay, getting on with this. Yes, Supermaid, the pot. Yes, exactly. Make all the Superman jokes you want, and why not? All right. What brand of pot is on the stovetop? Once again, this is something called Super Made Cookware, which I had never heard of until I came across this thing, and that's why again I did some research on it, and it was a fun experience. It was a fun learning experience. Make sure the taters are dry to get a good crisp on them too. Well, there is that too, yes. But fortunately, I think the idea is when I drain the potatoes, they should just simply the heat and the steam should help to dry them off very quickly. So once it comes to a boil, I'm only going to let them boil for maybe a couple of minutes or so because that's all we need. And guess what? It's boiling. It worked. So I had this thing. I started this pot at about 7:45. So again, it took about 30 minutes or so to bring this pot to a boil, which is not unquestionable considering it's a big pot. So that means we only have to do this for like a couple of minutes or so. All right. Let me see. Is the oven still at 500 degrees? Yes, it is. And let's see if we can get a look at it. There you go. Yes, the oven is still at 500 degrees. And let's turn on the oven light and see if we can get a glimpse of those pots in there. There they are. One is on the left side is a Griswold #8 Dutch oven, and on the right is a BS&R Dutch oven. And meanwhile, on the top shelf is good old Stumpy, the number 14, because Stumpy is what we're going to be using to roast these potatoes. I chose this chicken tonight and also these potatoes because it's a type of recipe that really shouldn't make much of a mess. That's one thing I'm really happy about this recipe by roasting these in a Dutch oven. Well, okay, I will give a little bit more detail about that once I have time to talk. Yeah, they always get lost. A used pot with a lid is a sign of a thoughtful cook. Well, that's true. I mean, it's actually amazing considering this pot is almost 100 years old that I was able to find it in this condition with the original lid. So yeah, I am very happy with that. I definitely can consider that a find. That's for sure. Cook, cook, cook instead of All right. We with cast iron will make great hobos. And then, oh, I see. In the next depression, I got caught up watching my gardening show. Well, nothing wrong with that, Mercy. I'm not asking to change anybody's schedule here. Stumpy is melting. Actually, at 500 degrees, Stumpy is probably just taking a nice sun bath. I mean, cast iron, you can heat a cast iron pan up to about 1,000 degrees before you get any sign at all of it actually being affected. The point where cast iron can start to warp is somewhere around 1,100 to 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. So 500 degrees is nothing, which is why there's no problem at all. And that's also one reason why I'm using cast iron to heat these up. Oh, yeah, well, we will be doing more than thinking about Stumpy as if I ever stop talking. So, how about we move on to the next step? And that would be, since these things have already boiled for a couple of minutes or so, let's move this over a little bit. And we will get to do the next thing. Still got to put these on, these gloves, because I'm about to do some hot water here. And turn off the stove top, remove the lid, and here comes our next little special effects display. Oh, come on, let's get the rest of it. Looks like a couple of pieces I gotta scrape out. They're not really sticking though. Here, let me show you from this end. There we go. And so, yeah, here is the inside of the pot. Like I said, it is unfortunately, as you can see, it is still stained, unfortunately. But the stains at this point really are, I don't think they're anything to worry about. Because as best as I could tell, those stains originally were because somebody burned something pretty bad on the inside of that pot. So it's nothing toxic or anything like that. Anyway, yeah, so fortunately, oh, this is not heavy at all, so that's good. As I said, I'm hoping that simply just the steam and everything will help to get these potatoes nice and dry. And but now we can move over here one more time. I do hope you folks don't mind all the movement of the camera here. Bring out a bowl and get these in. One more. All right, hot mercy. Other than that, I'm good. Yeah, they're just sucking up to the wet pot. Okay, now we stare into the abyss. But does the abyss stare back at you? I don't think that question was ever answered. All right. Yeah, again, I am trying to get these things dried off as well. However, this is the point where we just simply start mixing in some oil. We don't even need to do a lot of it. So here comes some olive oil, which again, we're supposed to add around the side so that it will run down and underneath. That's probably enough. And start mixing it together or around or in so that we can get all these potatoes coated. This is my first time trying that recipe, although I know roasted potatoes are a pretty basic recipe, but usually, no, this is my first time trying to parboil them before putting them into the hot oven. So if this works and we get some nice crispy potatoes, well, I'll be very happy. Okay, now from here, of course, salt and pepper to taste. Here comes the salt and the pepper. I made sure to fill the pepper grinder before doing this. Is this thing set to coarse? Medium. Let's change it over to. There we go. I like my pepper coarse. Let's try it this way. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. Let's mix it up. And with that, we will get to do the next star of the show. We only need to, I think, what did they say? We only need to roast these? Well, they're claiming 20 minutes, but I'm not so sure about that. With any luck, everything should be done at about the same time. And once again, I'm looking for 8:48 and 8:49 p.m. So there's still like about another 25 minutes yet before we take the lids off of those cast iron pots. Anyway, we toss it around. And now, here comes our next guest star. Oops. Watch that cord. Like I said, watch that cord. Back to the trivet. And I think I may even need to raise this a little bit because anybody who has seen our next guest knows that he requires a lot of camera space. Because it's time to get out the gloves once again and say hello to one of my favorite kitchen users. Oh, yeah. Hello, Stumpy. Oof, damn, that's hot. All right. All right, here he is. And Stumpy has been heated up to 500 degrees, where, as I said, again, there's no problem at all. He hasn't been affected at all. So, while he's still nice and hot, let's dump in the potatoes. Hopefully the fire extinguisher won't go off again. And let's try to spread these potatoes around. Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a hot skillet, roast them, which is exactly what I hope we can do. I may have more potatoes here than space. Well, we will do our best and make do. Trying to get as much of this to contact the surface as possible. All right. This looks like it's going to be about as good as we can get. So we will just have to turn the potatoes over in about, 10, 15 minutes or so. But while Stumpy is paying us a visit, yes, he is. As I mentioned at the beginning, Stumpy is this very special guest star tonight. So let's turn this around one last time to the oven. And here we go again. Actually, I better move this so that there's room here. All right. There we go. And let's move this up a little bit. There we go, so you can see it. And a one, a two, a three. There we go. Yes, the oven is still at 500. Whew. Okay. Well, that was fun. Now all we have to do is wait. I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. We can check the potatoes and see if they can be turned over. And as I mentioned, at 8:48, or about another 23 minutes, we start taking the lids off of those cast iron pots. Is Stumpy a BSR? Yes, he is. He is a Century Series number 14 skillet. And yeah, I initially got Stumpy. He was a lucky eBay score. This was a good grief, almost 10 years ago. Man, time is flying. Back before BSNR was so well known on eBay. And usually BSR pans, because they don't have the manufacturer name on them, they were usually sold as unknown pans. They would usually say made in USA or rare unknown cast iron. So often in those days, you could get a decent deal. And that was why I was actually able to afford on eBay a huge pan like old Stumpy there. And he has been in regular use in my kitchen now for at least the last 10 years. And that's why I gave him a nickname, as well as a pronoun. I call him him. And he's, as I said, he is one of my favorite kitchen users. About 3 or 4 years ago, I acquired another BSNR number 14 skillet because I thought it was an older Red Mountain pan. And of the two, I ended up giving away that other Red Mountain, and I kept old Stumpy. So yeah, because he's well, I guess you could say I've developed emotional ties, because you know how pretty much anybody who has a collection, they end up feeling emotional ties to certain pieces in their collection, whether it's certain comic books or certain magic cards or certain baseball cards or coins, or in my case, cast iron. Hippie Longshanks, I usually catch a replay. Good to see everybody live again. Yes, nice to see you here as well. If he were mad, he'd probably burn everything. Yes, exactly. Yeah, a lid. I could use the fish fryer. I didn't even think until tonight that I could have used that fish fryer and probably roasted both of those chickens at the same time. But yeah, at least this gives me an excuse to bring out two cast iron Dutch ovens. Is that big being called Stumpy? I would be afraid of a non-Stumpy. Yeah, Stumpy has his name for two reasons. One is that the handle is what is a lot shorter compared to the what we see compared to the length of the actual pan itself, and that's a big reason why I call him Stumpy. Also, this particular pan has a bit of a casting flaw in that if you closely examine the end of the handle, it looks as though the end of the handle is actually chipped off. But cast iron generally doesn't chip. And I'm thinking more likely this was, in fact, a casting flaw during manufacturing. So, between those two things, I gave him the nickname of Stumpy. But regardless of that, he has performed well. I have made a lot of huge, giant pizza sized cookies in old Stumpy. Stumpy is my turkey roasting pan. I have cooked a number of Thanksgiving turkeys and Christmas turkeys in good old Stumpy. He's also a really great griddle too. I took him out camping last year, and it was an good old Stumpy that I made an SOS breakfast after the world failed to end and we were not picked up by the alien escape vessels of the sex goddesses. I'll tell you about that another time. Folks who know my channel know about my affiliation with the Church of the Subgenius. So okay, yeah, got a Raggedy Ann and Andy. Well, that's nice. No judgments here. Go for it. I'd love to see the results you get. Evening 4M Morris family. What's cooking? Chicken and potatoes are cooking. We have, yeah, praise Bob, exactly. We have two Dutch ovens here roasting two chickens at 500 degrees. So, because of that, it should not take long at all. I am aiming, in fact, in another 28 minutes. Do I have my time wrong or something? 8:48. Oh, 18 minutes. 18 minutes. That's when the lids come off of those Dutch ovens, and and then from there we only roast them uncovered for about another 5 minutes. Um, I had said something, and God, my memory is failing or something. I had said there was something I was going to explain at once I had more time to do so. Oh yes, it was the recipe itself, the Dutch oven chicken. Um, this particular recipe for 500-degree Dutch oven chicken, which by the way, I have the link to this recipe on the description of this video here. If you look at the description of this live video, you'll see the link to the actual recipe. I originally based this on a popular recipe from the New York Times, in which they published this. The idea is you use a typical cast iron skillet. You can use a 10-inch skillet or a 12-inch skillet, whichever you prefer. And you do the same thing. You just simply heat that cast iron skillet up to 500 degrees, plop your chicken onto it, and roast it in the oven for about 45 minutes, and you have yourself a wonderful roast chicken. Yes, you do. And I've done that a couple of times myself, and it does make a wonderful roast chicken. If you don't have a cast iron Dutch oven, try it with the skillet. However, the problem with that is that the chicken splatters grease all over your oven. I mean, the oven gets really, really greasy, and you really do have to clean the oven afterwards. It also creates a lot of smoke. I mean, so I had the idea, if you have those problems with a by roasting it in a 500-degree skillet, what would it be like if you roasted it in a 500-degree Dutch oven? Because the skillet would be, I'm sorry, the chicken would be completely surrounded by iron, top and bottom. So you would have to be able to roast that thing just fine. And just as important, it would contain the grease and the smoke. So the oven would remain clean and you have yourself a roast chicken. And I tried it and the results were wonderful. I mean, as I said already, this is one of my favorite ways to make a chicken. As I can guarantee you folks are going to find out tonight. So yes, ever since then, I have not used a skillet to make a chicken in this method. Although I do have another method for roasting chicken, the one that I call cast iron chicken, and that's the one where you press the chicken between two 500-degree skillets. That also does cut down on the grease splatter too. But that's the story of this particular recipe, and that's why I prefer, if I'm going to roast a chicken fast, 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 then I would definitely want to do exactly what we're doing tonight and use a Dutch oven. A few years ago, I tried the same tactic on a turkey. Although again, I used the skillet instead of a Dutch oven. I don't think I have done this yet with a turkey. But as I said, I used a large 15-inch skillet, heated that skillet to 500 degrees, and I dropped a 12-pound turkey onto that hot, hot pan and stuck it in the oven and roasted it at 500 degrees. And that turkey was completely cooked after 1 hour and 5 minutes. And it was completely cooked all the way to the bone. Um, and I was quite happy with that. Except you think if you, I mean, if I thought that just doing a skillet in that, I'm sorry, just doing a chicken in that skillet would splatter grease all over the oven, that was nothing compared to all of the splattering and the grease I got from frying a turkey in a skillet like that. So yeah, I definitely had to clean the oven after that. I don't think I have tried this method yet with a Dutch oven. I've got a Dutch oven big enough to do this. I've got a 16 quart Dutch oven, which I've used a few times. Damn. Now I'm starting to think maybe I should give it a try with a 12-pound turkey. And at this point, my guests are looking at me with kind of a furious look on their face, saying, "You had better not bring a 12-pound turkey into this place, because if you cook it, who do you think's going to have to eat it?" So, okay. Nonetheless, all right. And since Hippie Longshanks, it is my F27 pod Julian Claus with California. Okay, yeah, you can cover the turkey with foil and cook it for a while that way. There is that too. There is that possibility. VL Triple X. I've got an induction top and I sincerely hate it. It won't simmer. You can't get a low enough setting. I'm sorry to hear that. 16 quarts. How much does that pot weigh? Yeah, that pot is a real beast. That with the lid, that pot weighs about 35 pounds, especially since it's a modern Asian made cast iron pot, which means it's thick and it's heavy. It is not as thin as a vintage cast iron pot. I mean, I've got a BSNR number 12 Dutch oven, which is like about 12 quarts in size. And that thing is nowhere near as heavy as this 16 quart Dutch oven. But that 16 quart Dutch oven, I still love that one too. I've done a lot of cooking in that, especially outdoor cooking. That thing is really great for deep frying outdoors. I've done several chicken deep fries in that. That's the pot that I took last year, in fact, to camping at X Day, and I made several stews in that 16 quart pot, and I do believe the folks there really enjoyed those too. So I can't get my oven on my glass top to calibrate. Oh, well, again, I'm sorry to hear that, Cynthia. What brand of pot is that 16 quart? It is a Bayou Classic Dutch oven. Bayou Classic, for those who do those huge cauldron, and those who do Cajun cooking, and those who do like say seafood boils and the like, they're very familiar with Bayou Classic. Bayou Classic manufactures a lot of grilling equipment, especially turkey fryers and propane burners. And they've got a large line of cast iron, ranging in size from small to huge. And I mean huge. And this 16 quart pot is not even the biggest one that BioClassic does. Now, they are all made in Asia and imported into the United States. And that's just fine. That's just how it is. Quite frankly, Lodge and BSNR and Griswold, they never made a cast iron pot that big. As you know, while Lodge did have a shallow 16, yeah, they had a shallow 16 Dutch oven that's long since been discontinued. Or am I thinking of the 14? No, I believe there was a 16. Likewise, BSNR had a 14 deep Dutch oven, but those were the biggest ones that they had. They never had the 16 quart beast that this one is. So I'm very much enjoying that. I'm gonna have to bring that out at some point soon. Now that we're getting into better weather. 4M Morris family. I inherited my great grandmother's 6 quart Wagner Dutch oven with lid and trivet. Nice. Never roasted a chicken in it, especially anything at 500 degrees. Yes, exactly. Go ahead and try it. You will enjoy it. I've been talking long enough that what time is it now? It's 8:39. Okay, I could probably take those potatoes out and try stirring them, which means we get to get another look at Stumpy. So let's head back over here one more time, bring down the camera a little bit, and here we go again. And yeah, now you know why these gloves look like this. You see, with all the burn marks on them. Okay, let's do this once again. And a one, and a two. Oh my. Um, they're not brown, but as you can see, they're definitely curling. So we're off to a decent start here. Again, these things have been going at 500 degrees, so let's turn these around a little bit. No, they're definitely not done. I'll bet we could eat them right now, though. I mean, they're probably done. I mean, they're probably cooked well enough. I mean, they're potatoes, but I'm not seeing any browning yet. So we will work on that. We'll just stick this back in the oven yet again. It's only been about 10 minutes anyway. Can't expect miracles. Still, I don't think we are off to a bad start, which means let's get this back in the oven. Meanwhile, again, we've got less than 10 minutes to go before we remove the lids from those Dutch ovens. So here we go again. 1, 2, 3. And on top of all that, since those are heavy cast iron Dutch ovens, my opening the oven for a few seconds like that should not affect the chicken because, they're completely surrounded by the iron. Talikaman 2003. I missed that comment. I've done the 500-degree chicken recipe and it comes out perfect every time. Well, thank you so much. That is one of the best compliments I've ever received from anybody. If that somebody has tried one of my recipes and liked it. I mean, I've found that very flattering and thank you very, very much. You're getting a workout tonight. Well, yeah, that's definitely true, Ronald. And besides, that'll help me sleep, which is good because tomorrow I'm hitting the road. I mentioned that already. I mean, tomorrow I'm heading out to Tennessee for the National Cornbread Festival this weekend. So, yeah, it's going to be a nice 2-day trip to get there. I got to try this technique, getting stoked. As you can see, it's really easy. The one thing, of course, you got to be careful about. I mean, yeah, I know it's completely obvious, but it should be said. Don't burn yourself. We're talking heavy 500-degree pieces of cast iron here. Be careful, especially if you have kids. Please be careful. Don't burn yourself. I'll only say that once, but I do think it needs to be said. All right. Buzz, where's all that grizz at? Do a video for us soon. You said in Ohio. Yeah, exactly. Or drop it on your foot. Yes, that too, Ronald. You're exactly right there. Don't drop a 500-degree cast iron pan on your foot. For that matter, don't drop any cast iron pan on your foot. Drive safely. That is something I very much plan to do. I mean, my driving is I live on cruise control. So I do my best that way to avoid getting speeding tickets or getting into any other trouble. So yes, I mean I'm hoping that most of this trip is going to be nice and boring, and that the driving shouldn't be any problem at all. And well, we can only see what happens. Um, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to hit the road at like about 6 a.m., which is no big deal because I've been getting up at 5 a.m. my entire life. My first, not my first stop, but my first goal is going to be Gettysburg, the Gettysburg battlefield, because I've got a personal reason for that. Um, Folks who saw my video in 2020 will know that my mother's ashes from cremation were in fact spread over the Gettysburg battlefield, specifically at Little Round Top, in fact. So I definitely need to stop by there, just to see that site and, well, of course, pay my respects because I miss my mom. We all do. And then from there, though, I will be, other than that, heading out and, well, seeing whatever I can find. I mean, the antique stores on the Virginia Highway are well known, for instance, and I'll be have plenty of time to stop and hunt and browse and see what I can find. There's also one other thing I do want to look for: the Cracker Barrel Made in America skillet. Remember, folks, I had mentioned this at least on I had mentioned this on Facebook within the last week. The new Cracker Barrel American Heritage skillet is out. Um, Now, those who have been following the Cracker Barrel series, including me probably a little bit disappointed because this Cracker Barrel skillet this year is essentially a modification of oh, I'm starting to smell something in the oven. Is a modification of the Lodge cast iron made in America skillet. Namely, it's the same design. The font has been slightly changed to make it unique for Cracker Barrel. So if you've been following the Cracker Barrel series, you might be a little disappointed. On the other hand, it's a nice design. And if you are a sucker for something like a cast iron pan with a big Made in America logo on the bottom, you will really enjoy this. And it's the price. Well, you know what the price is. Cracker Barrel usually sells this thing for what? Between $25 and $30, I think. So yes, meaning that it has just been released within the last week or two. So that if you're interested, head to your local Cracker Barrel and take a look at their American Heritage series, and you should be able to find the Made in America skillet. And don't forget to let Dubs know exactly when you're leaving and what route you're taking. Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like getting mugged. Shit, I'm joking. Trust me, I'm joking. Anyway, I hope to see some sights. It's been 6 years since I've last been down that way. So I'm sure some things have changed, especially since the pandemic, and I'm looking forward to seeing these things. There are some sites I don't want to miss, one of which is actually not necessarily cast iron, but folks in the area of Tennessee will know about the Smoky Mountain Knife Works. They call themselves the largest knife store in the country, and they might be right, but they have a lot of other interesting stuff, including some great kitchen items, some nice clothes, and in the basement of that place, they've got some great antiques where I have, in fact, seen cast iron, as well as some collections of swords, which are pretty interesting. Some genuinely medieval, some made as movie props. And a whole bunch of other things, and you never know. I got the Cracker Barrel flag skillet today. Well, congratulations, Rick. I have no doubt you will enjoy it. So, yes, I mean, am I getting Alzheimer's? Didn't Cracker Barrel used to do their baked potatoes in pine tar? I do not know. I honestly do not know. Maybe somebody else can answer that. What time is it now? It's 8:47. We are about ready to just that. Take the lids off of those cast iron pots, and then we only need to roast them for about another 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And here it is, 8:48. Okay, I have ring cameras everywhere. All right, now that means we get to head back over to the oven one more time. Boy, wasn't that fun? All right, because now we've got one more thing to do. Get out this glove again. Try not to burn myself. Leave the pot in the oven, but take off the lid. So here's one. Oof. And I come on. Oh, damn it. Let's do this right. Okay, there we go. Here's one. And here comes two. Careful. Oh, come on. Do this right. Why don't I? Come on, you know what? Damn it. Do this again. There we go. Did it. Oh, yeah. I'm betting you can hear that even from here. Whew, that was fun. Yeah, the bail handle kind of caught on the lid, so it was not as easy to take off as I thought. All right, get the rock salt loaded. Have a wonderful cornbread festival. Yeah, I intend to. And yeah, I definitely am going there to have fun. It would be nice to see some people there too. Well, there will be people, yes. I mean, it would be nice to see to meet some faces here. I'm told that there is going to be a cast iron collector gathering somewhere there on Saturday, but I haven't gotten an idea of the exact location. Well, I'll figure it out. However, we only have like about 5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes before the chicken actually comes out. So, 8:48. That means let's take a closer look here because we got some lids to look at. I've shown these before, but maybe not everybody has seen them. Oh yeah. And I gotta be careful because these things again are still at least, well, if not 500 degrees, but they must be close to it by now. So gotta be careful. One of these is the Red Mountain. Whoops. Okay, time for two gloves, not one. One of these is the Red Mountain lid. And what's more, it's a handwritten Red Mountain lid as well. A number 8 lid from a BS&R Dutch oven. So as you can see, it has the dimples on the bottom there, showing that it's definitely of the Red Mountain series. On the other hand, this one is a Griswold, what they call the button logo lid because of this raised Griswold logo on the top. And it has the Griswold everything there on the bottom. Although it's kind of covered with seasoning, so you can't see the Griswold logo on the bottom the way you normally could. But yeah, these things are hot enough that I can just leave it where it is. That's for sure. Okay, with the weight of 2 full Dutch ovens, I'm not sure your oven rack could hold that weight if you pulled it out a bit. I'm not so sure either, but so far it appears to be holding up just fine. And in only a couple of minutes, these things, the pots are gonna come out of the oven. So yeah, we get to see how it looks. And actually, I had better start preparing 2 trivets since we've got 2 Dutch ovens coming out. There we go. Bam. Hi, my neighbor's a state trooper. Nice. Seems dinner is going to be late. Yeah, unfortunately, I wasn't able to start this until 8 o'clock tonight. So, and I know my guests actually they're kind of hungry, but we're almost done. I can only promise you that. So, oh, I better double check those potatoes too. Okay. Well, let me. Okay, I think probably that's what I'll do. I will get the pots out of the oven first, and then we will deal with the potatoes. And with that, I'm going to wait maybe about 1 more minute, and then we will take them out. Dimples are for dripping the liquid back. Yes, exactly. The dimples here. In theory, it's pretty much the same reason why large lids have basting spikes on them, in that it's meant to catch condensation. Although it's interesting as well that BS&R did these did this in a completely random pattern in their Red Mountain days. All right, so far so good. I do believe it's about that time. So let's pull this over one more time. Get this lid, get this gloves back on again. And here we go. Oof. Steams up my glasses when I open the oven. Anyway, here's number 1. You can hear that? I can hear that. Here's number 1. Here is number 2. All right. Oh, there we go. 2 roast chickens. Oh, this is interesting. I actually got an air bubble under the skin on this one. I'd better take a couple of photos right now while they are fresh and hot. That way we'll have a thumbnail for tonight. Yeah, this is not looking bad at all. Oh, I like this angle. And here's the other one. And one shot of both of them. Bam. Still, there we go. Just like that. As I said, it only took 45 minutes. The dimples are a sign of the humanity involved with the casting process. The molds were single use and would have been stabbed randomly to create the dimples. My dogs always get the chicken butts. Do you still check the interior temperature? Well, let's check the temperature. I feel pretty confident in saying that this is done, but of course, there's always one way to find out. Let's check that hold button. Oh man. Well, it says 171, so I'd say we're off to a decent start. In fact, let's check the thigh here. Whoops, don't want to touch the bone. Yeah, I think we could safely say this chicken is done. And again, that only took 45 minutes. So this is one reason why I really love this method for making chicken. Of course, this air bubble is deflating as I knew it would, but that also means we're definitely gonna have a crisp skin here. Oh yeah, the last thing, those potatoes. So now I better move this aside. Oh, and yes, I can. I don't see why I can't serve the chicken to my guests while the live is still playing, because they've been kind enough to wait, and there's really no law that says you have to wait until it's done before you eat. So let me find another trivet here for good old Stumpy. In fact, I think I will change this around a little bit. Take this out, put this on Froggy here. And let's get the potatoes out, which I know I still have to flip yet. Ugh. These potatoes are definitely starting to crisp up. I can certainly say that. Oops. Great. Come on. Anyway, change this around. I'm not sure if they're getting as crisp as I would have liked, but they're definitely roasted. Could probably eat them right now, or I might even just put them back in the oven a little more. As I said, I'm not sure if they're as brown as I would have liked, although there is definitely some browning involved. So, did parboiling the potatoes help? I'm not sure. Nonetheless, I could safely say we could eat these potatoes now, or as I said, I think I will just pop them back in the oven a little bit more. They've definitely shrunk though. Let me see if I can get some more surface contact here if possible, especially for the parts that don't seem to be browned up. Of course, I might have just simply used too many potatoes as well. Still, I don't think this will be anything to complain about. Let's get this back in the oven for just a few more minutes. Away we go one last time. In fact, I can put that on the bottom shelf now. Whew. All right, that means I get to pull the chicken back over so that you can see that, have a more interesting view. Do this right. Here's one. Here's the other. All right. One of these is for my current guests, and one of these is for a friend because I promised her chicken. Okay, yeah, it seems I have friends here who are asking me to cook for them, which I guess is a nice thing. Muggy Bear, I remember you wasn't forgotten. Terry, my dad called him that too. My grandma always got the tail. She called it the Pope's nose. Oh yes, you're talking about the pieces of the chicken. Yeah, I mean, even though that little part of the chicken is a little fatty, I always like that part myself too. I had that discussion how they build stuff now to keep us coming back. The dimples are a sign of the humanity. Yeah, we mentioned that. Oh yeah, yeah. But what can I say? As I said, it took all of 45 minutes to roast these chickens. So if you want something fast and easy, even on a work night, this may be one way to do it because it takes very little effort. And that's what I like. I like simple recipes that involve very little effort. Also, very little cleanup. That's another reason why I chose this tonight. I mentioned already, I made cornbread last week because, that used a lot of cast iron pot pans and it took a lot of cleaning up. Cleaning up tonight is going to be a lot easier. Once I get these chickens out and onto plates, All I have to do is let these Dutch ovens cool off, and then all I have to do is just simply scrub them, and that won't be very difficult. And I'll be done. So I won't have much of a mess to clean up before I go to bed tonight. All right, don't forget them taters. Oh no, I just checked the taters. Yeah. About how long did it take to preheat the Dutch oven? Well, in fact, it took me half an hour. But consider as well, I had two big heavy pots with lids, and I had that huge number 14 cast iron skillet in the oven. So the fact that it only took half an hour to heat all these things to 500 degrees, I think that's not too bad, especially since it was last week with the cornbread. I think it took only maybe about 15 minutes or so. Even with those pieces in the oven, it only took about 15 minutes to bring them up to 400 degrees. But then again, those were cornbread pans, which I suppose are a lot have a lot less mass than these Dutch ovens do. So yes, it took about half an hour. I started heating the oven up at 7:30, especially so that it would be ready for the live tonight. So yeah, chicken dishes are just an excuse to have skin. Yeah, my wife doesn't like it and she passes it to me, just like the fat off her pork chop. That's one reason why we've been married 34 years. Yes. Or anybody remember the nursery rhyme? Jack Sprat could eat no fat, his wife could eat no lean. And so betwixt the two of them, the yeah, they licked the batter clean, or was it lick the platter clean? That's it. Okay. Says you Dubs. All right, my wife would insist that there are other reasons too. Yes. Well, one reason, of course, is who doesn't like chicken? I know some people don't, but nobody I know. How do you clean the Dutch oven afterwards? Well, as a matter of fact, all I do is simply take out the chainmail scrubber, and after this all cools off, I just clean it the way I clean any other cast iron pan. Just take the chainmail scrubber, scrub it out under warm to hot water, and within a minute or so it's all clean. But I think I've talked enough. I do believe at this point I can take out the let's get out a plate, shall we? And then a couple more plates for my guests so to serve themselves. Right. Or I don't know, maybe I'll try carving it on camera or something. Nonetheless, how will I do this? Okay, that's one way, I guess. How am I going to serve this chicken without tearing the skin? Actually, that shouldn't be too hard. Somebody pointed out all I have to do is simply take the tongs and put it right up the behind. I hope this doesn't get me banned from YouTube for this. Is this thing actually sticking to the bottom? I do believe it is. All right, so we want to be careful. Oh, that means don't want to drop this, but looks like I'm gonna have to. There we go. Now it's loosened up. All right. There we go, much better. Although it looks like some skin did stick to the bottom, unfortunately. Oh, we're just gonna have to scrape that off, aren't we? I mean, the scrapings are among the best parts. So let's get these out. All right, but nonetheless, all right, now let's use the gloves again. Put this aside. And in fact, I can even put the lid on, save some space. And the Griswold Dutch oven goes away. And meanwhile, I better put this other one aside. As I said, this is going to go to a friend tonight. So, let me do this quickly. All right. Which means at this point, I'm not sure if those potatoes browned any more than they were before. So it may not be the best browning, but the potatoes are definitely done as well. So that means it's time to I think I can even turn off the oven now. There we go. Oops, clear. Now clear. There we go. And take out old Stumpy one last time. Well, I might be wrong. I do believe we have some browning here. Ugh. Noise, as they say. All right. Yeah, actually, I think this turned out a little better than I thought. Let's spread these around. Hey, hello, look at that. So on the whole, I think this took what, maybe about 20 to 30 minutes, I think, in that 500-degree oven. I mean, we have no doubt at all that these potatoes are done, definitely. And yeah, I was wrong. We have ourselves some browning. So anyway, what we did here, as I said, was we parboiled these potatoes for a couple of minutes or so before we coated them with oil, and not too much oil either, and put them into the and then just that, put them into the hot cast iron pan and roasted them at 500 degrees. Let's take a couple of pictures of that, because that's not bad at all. Actually, one more of the pan itself. Don't want people to see my phone password. All right, there we go. Here's the shot we want. Okay, so far so good. That means finally I need to get this out of the. Well, actually, I probably don't even need to take it out of the pan. We'll just simply serve it out of that. But here we go. Nice. Here's our chicken and potatoes. So that means let's get a couple of plates here. I'm not sure if this will fit both of those things. I guess I better get larger plates. Okay, that's what we will do. All right. If you want to come and assist, please do. The camera is pointing down, I promise. So, let me move this hot pan to one side. There we go. Now I think we're safe, which means we get to carve.
I'd like I like dark meat.
Yeah, well, there we go.
And between the two of us, we like
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, then let's see what we have here. Just realized I need tongs to serve, and I need forks. I think I will, yes. But guests come first, and besides, I need to finish this video. So let's see if I can do this right. There we go. So it's a nice piece of that. Should be plenty, I think. Yeah, I look at this. The skin's coming right off. And if we look underneath, do you see any pink? I certainly don't. Yeah, exactly. So I'd say we are fine here. There's a nice chunk of white meat. Do you want more? Okay, and let's serve. Although, let's see, how can we do the dark meat? Let's try it this way. Whoops.
Oh my goodness.
Well, that's one way to do it. I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
that's another benefit of butterflying a chicken. Because all you gotta do is remove a little bit of skin.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But there we go. And I'm not sure where we can get you some skin. I guess I'll have to take some skin off the white meat.
What about the straight?
Oh, well, there is that. Didn't think of that. There's a little bit of that. All right. And of course, if you need to season that, I mean, please do so. I've never been insulted by seasoning because it helps it to taste better. All right, let's do some of this. And a little, yeah, as you can see, I'm doing such a great job.
You make up for it by having your food be delicious. Thank you.
All right, and some more.
That's right.
2 more.
Just a little bit.
And again, you
There
can
we
put
go.
salt and whatever you want on them
Thank you
because
very
they are
much.
lightly seasoned. But still, thank you for waiting too. I'm sorry it took so long. All right. Hmm. I don't care. I dare anybody to trade for one day. They can't. No muss, no fuss. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm quite happy with how these turned out. Yes, exactly. And I can only say it one more time. This was a 4 pound chicken. This was 45 minutes in a cast iron Dutch oven at 500 degrees. And the results are they speak for themselves, don't they? In fact, I might even just take off a little piece of chicken right now, even though this is hot, hot, hot. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. And even though that temperature hit 170 when we measured the breast meat, that does not taste dried out. Would you say that? Would you say that it's
Very
dried out?
moist.
Mm.
Delicious.
She just said it's very moist, so things are doing good here. That's for sure. All right. Yeah, they put on a lot of spices. Perfect every time. I can vouch for it. Yes, exactly. As you said, Talakaman 2003. Well, I'm very glad you like this recipe. I like this recipe just because, again, it's so easy and so fast. Oh, it's this is why I titled this video "The World's Easiest Roast Chicken." Give this a try even once because I really don't think you'll regret it. All right. So far, so good. Anyway, that's as I said. This is why we got to a chance to play with some cast iron tonight. Here, I think I burned myself yet again. Just barely touched that grating. I think as I was getting it off, getting that lid off. Oh well, that is hardly the first time that's happened to me. Anybody who cooks in cast iron know that you're going to get these little. They call them cast iron kisses, or they might call them war wounds. Either way, no big deal. So, there we go, folks. We certainly accomplished what we set out to do. Sometimes the results on these live cooking videos have not been the greatest. I have nothing to complain about. This chicken had nice crisp skin. It's thoroughly cooked all the way down to the bone. It's juicy. It's tasty. I think dry brining it all day probably helped as well. So, yeah. And as I said, if you do feel like you need to add any more seasoning at all, please feel free to do so. I have no problem at all with that. Thank you so much. I'm glad they turned out crispy. This was my first time trying that recipe, but yeah, I think the results actually were better than I expected. I mean, it didn't look like they were going to crisp, but in the last few minutes, it looks like they did. So there we go, folks. All right, Sam's Club chickens are better than Costco, only not as flavorful. Okay, well, thank you again, and I'm glad you were here to watch too. Great time as always. Yes, exactly, Beth Button. And yeah, the bones will make some soup too. So, but yeah, there's plenty of here for my guests, so that you'll be able to have some chicken. You'll be able to pack some for lunch tomorrow too, which will be just fine. All right, but thank you as well to everybody. Any last questions, folks? Because the last couple of weeks we went past 9:30, but I'm going to be calling it a night, largely because, as I said, I'm hitting the road tomorrow. So fortunately, as I said, I've got very little mess to clean up, so that won't take long. The other chicken, on the other hand, I have to take to a friend who I promised chicken, which so that won't take long. Which means I will come home, I'll clean my mess, and then I'll get to bed. And then tomorrow, well, shower, of course, but then time to hit the road, time to do some treasure hunting and just have some fun. And that is really what I'm looking forward to. And I hope my guests have fun as well because they've got the place all to themselves. I half expect them to hold some ridiculous party that will probably end up destroying the house or anything like that. Oh, cancel that? Oh, okay. That actually more likely, knowing I'm thinking more likely they're probably going to engage in some occult summonings or something. So anyway, oh yeah, oh yeah, well yeah, have fun with my movie collection too. But yeah, if you summon any demons or anything, please at least take a selfie or something because I want to see them. Okay. But there we go. As I said, if there were any last questions here, folks, yeah, thanks again. See you all next live. Well, thank you so much, and thank you. Yeah, road trip. Yes, exactly. I'm definitely looking forward to the pictures and the vlogs as well. So, having said that, I do believe the leftovers for chicken salad. That's the any number of ways to make chicken. This is one of them, and it's certainly one of my favorites. But there we go, folks. So whew, it's been a fun night, and I do say this every week because I mean this every week. And you know what makes this a lot of fun? Having all of you folks here, and I'm being completely sincere about that because you see, I've been talking and talking and talking for an hour and a half, almost well, an hour and 15 minutes. And it's been having you folks here to have conversations with that really makes this a lot of fun. I really enjoy these live cooking, especially because I know you folks are watching and commenting and enjoying yourselves. And I'm really glad to have had a chance to entertain you because this is a lot of fun and I really enjoy doing it. And thank you very much for being here to experience it. And well, what can you say? Hit the like button and subscribe and share and all the rest of that stuff because I certainly intend to keep doing this for quite a while yet. Everybody stay safe, as Cynthia Wesley says. Yes, and safe travels. And thank you so much. Thank you for everything, folks. And thank you to Val's Black Cats Rules. Good vibes to you. And thank you, VL Triple X and Talakaman, if I'm pronouncing that right, 2003. I love these cooks. Well, thank you so much. But yeah, well, you can always watch the replays, but thank you as well. Thank you to everybody who's been kind enough to try these recipes. Yeah, I enjoy them, and I can only hope you do as well. So, and Ronald Coward, well, first time watching live. Well, thank you so much. Good show, and thank you again. Thank you to everybody. Kimberly Miller and Hippie Longshanks and Mark Sieber, Mercy B, and and Rocket Caver, Night All. Yes, exactly. Thank you to everybody because yeah, as I said, we've got a fun weekend coming up. I'll be doing my best. I'll be posting on Facebook regularly, and I'm gonna try to take some video, especially at the Cornbread Festival, because again, I'm told that there's a gathering of cast iron collectors this weekend. I don't know the exact location other than it's going to be at the festival, but I'll do my best to find out. And so it's got an interesting weekend coming up. But even for those who won't be there at the festival, have fun because we're getting into springtime and and it's a good time for everybody to have some fun, especially cooking with cast iron. So thank you to everybody. Have some fun cooking this weekend, and because of course we're going to do it all again next week. So as I always like to say when I end these videos, from my favorite movie 2001. See you next Wednesday.